Hello everyone, my name is Zachary Milazzo, and for game design, I am going to be showing you the tutorial level for Elder Scrolls Online. Now we're going to be talking about various aspects of this, but the main ones that I want to touch on is architecture, gameplay, and tutorial. So, without further ado, let's get started. I'm just going to make a random character named... I'm sorry, I have a very loud keyboard. You're going to hear this, and I do apologize. Testy the Tester Man. That's going to be incredibly unnerving to see, but we're going to run with it. So as something, honestly, that I've been playing this for so long, but now I think... I take a closer look at that. This screams fantasy. Everything from what you are dressed up into the fact that you can be a cat, or a lizard, or elf, words like dark elf, into like agility, weapon, spell damage, magicka, stamina, the armor, the everything about this screen just screams fantasy. Necromancer, or Templar, and a sorcerer. It screams fantasy, and if you're really unfamiliar with the genre, this is incredibly bold. And it's supposed to be. Elder Scrolls as a whole is a very fantasy-driven game. And not a lot of other games do a better job than with this one by being so bold. That's what I'm trying to say, is that, like, this is a very bold way to say, hey, this is a fantasy game. But you know what? They do it really well, and they do it from right off the bat. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, we are going to start up the tutorial. Loading screens. The loading screens have beautiful art that really showcase this fantasy, and that's microtransactions. Sometimes that flavor text has something that has to do with the world, and it really sells it on the fantasy world building, but not today. So, from the get-go, tutorials, they give you buttons, and they give you prompts in the right-hand corner. They show you exactly like what to do, how to do it. And I'm gonna go into third person because I don't play in first person like a heathen, but here's our task, and immediately we are shown like this beautiful, vibrant outside world caged inside a sharp contrast to this gray, dull area, and it tells us to interact with people, but it doesn't give us a time limit. The character does not start interacting with us, we interact with the character. Something that I am going to state from time and time again during this recording is that I love the agency that this game gives the players. It doesn't rush them, nothing is scripted, we can take everything on our own time, and I think that's lovely. This is just story stuff. It's interesting enough. I don't really think it captures the player too much, aside from saying, yes, I'm home of Clan Durrani. This doesn't mean anything to us. They say things like they teleport here, Daedric beasts, will you helps me stop Shiazo. This doesn't exactly like click with the player. We don't immediately have any recognition of what's going on, but it's a tutorial, like we gotta have some sort of plot hook. Second we get outside, beautiful, just greenery, huge contrast to the gray, and really sets the mood with this like Greek Roman architecture, this gigantic Colosseum cathedral, rather, with the light shining in on this greenery, abandoned. We can tell that this place hasn't a lot of care. And immediately, something we've talked about is players are often drawn to warm colors. So perhaps aside from this that is of interest over here, we are naturally just drawn over here, especially to the NPC, who we can follow whenever we want. There is no time restriction. It is totally up to us. Say, where are we headed? Blah, blah. Here is the beginning of the great tutorial. in Elder Scrolls Online. It allows us to choose our own weapon. We can choose any of the weapons. We can actually take as many weapons as we want to try out, but this showcases that it is totally up to us. We have any playstyle. There's no restrictions. If we already take a weapon, we can choose another weapon. It shows us to open our inventory. It tells us about properties. It tells us about weapons and stuff like that. We can double click on them. And boom, we have weapons. We follow her, we follow down this thing. We can immediately go there. Some players might want to explore a little bit, and the NPC doesn't say anything. We're not forced to follow the NPC. We can do that on our own time. We can look around for urns. Look, urns have armor or treasures in them, lockpicks, things like that. We're rewarded for taking the time to go out of our way and explore. Who is this person? Like you can't be interacted with, but it rewards us for walking around and exploring by showing us interesting things, looking into little crates, jugs, things that generally contain loot. And it's from the get-go, it tells us, yeah, keep an eye out because you can find cool stuff in little jars and whatnot. Absolutely, that's absolutely what we're gonna do. And when the player is ready, we can head on through here and continue the tutorial. The next great part about this tutorial is how it shows you how combat is done. It puts you up against a quote-unquote enemy, a test dummy that cannot harm you, but it shows you what enemies act like. It shows you the mechanics of combat. And it does it exceptionally well. It tells you the exact buttons to press and what to do. It doesn't even let you move, so a little railroady, but it has to just showcase you. What does this do? Do this right now, test it out. Boom. We do it. And it asks us to do it again, and it gets us into this rhythm saying it's like, yes, this is what you want to do. After a few times, we're fine. And this tutorial, you will find out in a moment that this tutorial allows you to do it as many times as you are comfortable. If you went through once and you felt like you breezed through it and you didn't really learn anything or you didn't really read the text, you can go back during her dialogue and you can do it again. Showcases stunning, breaking free. It really accentuates just the art of combat in this game and how you can exploit certain things. And there's no danger. It allows you to do it at your own pace. You feel, as a player, you feel very safe. It shows you that the health bar right there demonstrating when they're low health, and when that runs out, the enemy is slain. You can loot them. It gives you a level up. That's your reward for doing this, is leveling up. And we are introduced to our first skill point that we can then shows you things like the hot bar. It's a huge thing of MMORPGs. We can choose what to put that in. We're just going to put that into Assassin's Blade, because why not? That sounds cool, doesn't it? And when we're ready, we can go over, talk to the NPC. And if you saw right there, let me just get back to this. I like to practice combat again. That's what I said. Is that like we can do this as many times as we feel comfortable. Now, can continue in here. And not much is different here aside from showing you more urns. You're encouraged a little bit more to explore and whatnot. It shows you right here that you can press control to sneak around, introduces that sort of thing. If we wanted to go up, we could actually annoy him, but we won't. Instead, we're just going to activate this bear trap and walk along. It's a very, very clear, just like the torches, the sconces, I think they're called, guiding us. A nice little arrival here, even though it tells us to sprint, which I really think defeats the purpose. We can take a look to our left and we can find a beautiful world that is awaiting for us, full of color and danger. By holding sprint, however, we are more than eager to get out onto this island. And here is our second and more prominent arrival to this beautiful landscape of color, of enemies, of architecture, blue sky. It's a great world, and it's incredibly inviting. Shows you to change the camera perspective, shows you the compass on the world map. We can see up top that we do indeed have a quest marker, objective. Gosh, I could not find the word. We do indeed have an objective, and we are free to take that at our own pace. However, we can also kill enemies. We can also fight enemies. We can practice what we've learned in enemies that actually can damage us. And in doing so, we can level ourselves up. We can gain XP. And we also have a follower, an NPC that heals us. And I can safely say, as somebody who played this game for the first time, that this gives you no sense of danger. You know, like, you are free to explore this world however you want, as long as you want. I actually thought this was the base game the first time I did it, but no, this is still the tutorial, and it does a great job of giving the player agency to do what they want until they are ready to pursue the rest of the quest. It's such a beautiful blend of using the techniques that you've been taught so far and trying them out, really getting a feel for the game, not making you feel threatened at all. And I think that's a great attitude that this game takes on. Games like Dark Souls, they like to showcase you the difficulty in the beginning, but this game, Elder Scrolls Online, does a great job with its tutorial of giving you agency and allowing you to take it at your own pace. The architecture and the overall surroundings, the flora, really give that fantasy vibe and introduce you to this inviting world that makes you just want to continuously keep playing. The tutorials are very friendly and very forgiving, and you can do them as many times as you want to get a feel for the game. It's just a very friendly game. And that's what I think makes the tutorial for Elder Scrolls Online a great levels design. Well, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you've learned today how great of a game Elder Scrolls Online is. I recommend giving it a try for yourself if you have a little bit of spare cash on you. It's more or less one-time purchase, free to play, but there is a subscription. I'm not going to be selling this game, but all I'm saying is give it a try. Great level design, great tutorial, great world. Goodbye.